our humanitarian colleagues are telling us that since yesterday, humanitarian supplies have entered Gaza through both the Rafah and Karim Shalom crossings. While this is indeed a positive development, the conditions to deliver humanitarian aid at scale, While this is a positive development, the conditions to deliver humanitarian aid at scale that responds to the people's needs still do not exist as the fighting continues. I can tell you that on Friday, our World Food Program colleagues, through their partners, distributed more than 9,000 hot meals to internally displaced people in 3 locations in Rafah. Together with UNRWA, the World Food Program is bringing in and distributing flour and other supplies to bakeries south of Wadi Gaza. Our humanitarian colleagues also say that efforts are underway to restore telecommunication services on the 5th day of a shutdown that has hindered humanitarian operations and access to information. And on Saturday, December 16th, a joint UN mission reached Al-Shifa Hospital. That hospital, as you know, is in North Gaza. The mission was there to deliver health supplies and assess the current situation. The team brought with them medicine, surgical supplies, orthopedic surgery equipment, and anesthesia material and drugs for about 500 people. It's the 3rd humanitarian convoy that has managed to reach North Gaza since the fighting resumed after the humanitarian pause ended on December 1st. The World Health Organization reports that Al-Shifa Hospital is only minimally functioning. Once the most important, largest referral hospital in Gaza, Al-Shifa now houses only a handful of doctors and a few nurses, together with 70 volunteers working under what WHO staff describes as unbelievably challenging circumstances, and tens of thousands of people are also using the hospital grounds as shelter. WHO is committed to strengthening the hospital in the coming weeks so that it can resume at least basic functionality and continues to provide the life-saving services that are needed at this critical time. Also want to flag to you that Rick Pieperkorn, the World Health Organization's representative in the occupied Palestinian territory, will act as the resident and humanitarian coordinator for the UN ad interim. This follows Lynn Hastings' departure on Saturday, and that was because of the non-renewal of her visas by the Israeli authorities. We will, of course, keep you updated when a new humanitarian and a resident coordinator is for the Palestinian territories is appointed, as well as the deployment date, and that person also serves as the deputy special coordinator to the Middle East peace process, deputy to Tor Venesland. The Secretary General thanks Ms. Hastings for her dedication and professionalism and the independence and impartiality she consistently demonstrated in her role. And also want to flag to you another humanitarian situation which is dire, to say the least. In Myanmar, we and our humanitarian partners today published the 2024 Humanitarian Needs and Response Plan for that country. The plan paints a grim picture of the humanitarian situation in Myanmar nearly 3 years after the military takeover. A third of the population, that's about 18.6 million men, women, and children, need humanitarian assistance. That's 1 million more people than last year, and almost 19 times the number of people who required assistance before the military takeover 3 years ago. Children are bearing the brunt of the crisis. Some 6 million of them need aid due to displacement, interrupted health care and education, food insecurity, as well as malnutrition, and many of them are also facing protection risks, including forced recruitment and mental distress. The economic situation is placing families in increasing financial distress. Interruptions to agriculture, as well as rapid inflation, are making it increasingly difficult for people to access and to afford adequate food, raising the specter of malnutrition. The health system is in crisis, and millions are without safe shelter or drinking water. Women, girls, and people with disabilities and stateless Rohingya people are among those impacted by the most dangerous environment. In the face of soaring needs, humanitarians have prioritized 5.3 million people for assistance, urgent assistance, in 2024. And for that, we will need $994 million US dollars. Updates from two of our peacekeeping missions, one in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. A number of you have been asking me about the elections in that country, and I can tell you that our peacekeeping mission in the country remains committed to providing support to the electoral process ahead of the general elections that are taking place on Wednesday, the 20th of December. As of today, 255 tons of electoral material have been transported by the mission in support of the Congolese authorities and that has taken place in North Kivu, South Kivu, and Ituri provinces where the mission is still deployed. The mission is also working closely with the Independent National Electoral Commission to extend logistical support beyond these provinces within the UN's existing resources and without impacting our ability to deliver on our mandated activities. And this was requested by the government of the Democratic Republic of the Congo and authorized by the Security Council on December 14th. Over the weekend, the head of MONUSCO, Bintou Keita, welcomed the Security Council's favorable response to the DRC's request to authorize the mission to provide limited logistical support to the Electoral Commission. In a tweet, Ms. Keita also expressed her concern at the escalation of violence, acts of vandalism and destruction of campaign material, as well as hate speech that have punctuated the electoral campaign. Serious human rights violations and abuses have been recorded, she said. And in Abyei, our peacekeeping colleagues in Abyei, UNISFA, the peacekeeping mission, report that an agreement has been signed by members of the Miseria and Ngok Dinka communities to prevent conflict during the traditional annual migration period. The agreement was reached at a conference held in Nung in Abyei province, which was jointly organized by the peacekeepers, the Food and Agriculture Organization, the International Organization for Migration, and Concordis International, an NGO, to help communities negotiate the mass movement of cattle ahead of the dry season. The peace deal also seeks to prevent tensions between farmers, displaced communities, the Ngok Dinka and Miseria, who as nomadic pastoralists move their cattle to reach fresh pastures between January and April each year. The agreement also sets out migration corridors to be used by the pastoralists to enable freedom of movement and refers to conflict mitigation mechanisms as needed. Earlier this morning, the Secretary General held a virtual plenary meeting with his high-level advisory board on artificial intelligence, where he had an exchange with them on the draft interim report. The members of that panel are working to finalize the report that will be made public by the end of the year. All stakeholders will have an opportunity to provide inputs through their online submission form. A presentation of this interim report for all permanent missions will be held during the first half of next January. Additional information will be shared over the coming days with you. And just a reminder that the broader report will be published next summer ahead of the Summit of the Future. And briefing the Security Council this morning was Abdoulaye Bathily, the Secretary General, Special Representative and head of the UN political mission in Libya. He said he had invited the leaders of the 5 Libyan institutions to reach a settlement on the outstanding issues preventing progress in the electoral process, recalling his broad consultations with a wide range of Libyan civil society, among others. Mr. Bathily noted their call for election as soon as possible and the increasing disenchantment with certain actors who are stalling. Mr. Bathily also called for the establishment of a unified national platform to coordinate the reconstruction efforts in Derna, where we, along with our humanitarian partners, reached over 200,000 people with assistance since the catastrophic flooding that you will recall took place in September. Mr. Bathily added that the protection of human rights and humanitarian situation of migrants and refugees remain a grave concern. Yet again, he said dozens of migrants and asylum seekers drowned last Saturday when their boat departing from northwest Libya overturned in the Mediterranean. He expressed his deep condolences to the families and wished a speedy recovery to the survivors. 3 p.m. this afternoon, the Security Council reconvened for a meeting on non-proliferation Rosemary DiCarlo, the head of our political and peace-building department, will brief council members. You will have seen that over the weekend we issued a statement in which the Secretary General expressed his deep sadness at the passing of His Highness Sheikh Nawaf Al Ahmad Al Jaber Al Sabah, the Emir of the State of Kuwait. He extended his heartfelt condolences to the family of the Emir and the government of people of Kuwait. In the statement, we underscored that His Highness was a distinguished statesman who contributed to the growth and understanding of cooperation in the Gulf and beyond, pursued strengthening relations in support of peace and stability in the region and around the world. And the Economic and Social Council's Ad Hoc Advisory Group on Haiti issued a statement today appealing to the international financial institutions to redouble their assistance to Haiti. The Ad Hoc Advisory Group was recently in Washington, where they held consultations with partners on the need for strengthened, sustained, coordinated support for Haiti in view of the deteriorating situation. The statement is available on the interweb. Today is the International Migrants Day. The Secretary General in the message says that on this day we highlight the urgent need for safe migration, governance rooted in solidarity, partnership, and respect for human rights. It is also Arabic Language Day today. This year's commemoration coincides with the 50th of the proclamation of Arabic as one of the 6 UN official languages.